One of the many really nice supportive messages I got when all this strange trials and tribulations started happening to me at the beginning of the century was from Carl Wayne of The Move. And I dug out this old clip from Good Evening in 1968, where we were discussing, believe it or not, the revival of rock and roll 10 years after rock and roll had peaked. It seems ridiculous now, but I thought you'd be amused to see it. Carl sadly died a couple of years ago, but was a very nice and extraordinarily talented man.
Which is only the beginning. Is this era back with us? And to examine the rock and roll revival, we've got some rockers. Memphis Brown, who is, I believe, the president of the Finchley Rock and Roll Preservation Society, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Fingers Lee, Freddie Fingers Lee, right? The singer and pianist of the, at last, the 1958 Rock and Roll Show. Unbelievable name, thought up by Tony Barrow of Nems, I believe. And Carl Wayne of The Move. So, is rock and roll returning? Memphis, can I call you Memph?
Oh, sure, you can call me Memph, yeah.
Is it returning?
I think rock and roll is definitely returning, not that it's been very far away. I mean, lots of my friends have kept rock and roll going for a couple of years now. And I think that it's definitely going to come back in a bigger way than it has been.
Why, Carl?
Yeah, it's coming back, definitely, but not in the 58 concept, you know, it's got to be a modern. It would be 1968 rock and roll, I think.
New rock and roll?
Yeah, right.
Isn't it still rather backward looking? I mean, I feel sad that we can't progress in pop music instead of having to look backwards at eras gone by.
No, you know, there's still a lot of people. I mean, I'm 24, and I grew up in the age of Jerry Lee Lewis, Fats Domino, Little Richard, and all this, but, you know, great rock and roll scenes where they used to rip the seats out of the cinemas and all this business.
Yeah.
And it was incredible. People got no inhibitions, and they didn't conform to anything, you know, they stomp around all the time. This is the thing we want to see back, you know.
You want to see the seats being ripped up again?
Yeah, but not these, you know, poncy little muds.
Yeah.
You know, it's a sick scene, that is.
Poncy little mods, I hope you're listening. Fingers Lee, what do you think rock and roll has got that any other form of music hasn't got?
Well, there's only one word, that's excitement, because it creates such an excitement. You let yourself go so far you can't get back.
What about soul and blues?
Soul and blues, what's soul and blues? There's nothing, is there?
Carl Wayne is laughing at this moment at the concept.
No, I'm just wondering why they call him Fingers.
I'll tell you that when the show's finished.
Tell me, now, if rock and roll returns, which you all say it's going to do, is it also going to bring back all these trappings of leather gear and the drapes and so on? Is this likely to happen?
I think it will to an extent, but I think rock and roll, as Carl says, will come back in a different way. The excitement and the beat in the earth will be there, but it'll be a 1968 sound.
It will be a 1968 sound,
yeah,
and this is a good thing.
I think in a month or 2 months, rock and roll will be solid in England.
Would you say this is a good thing too, Memphis? Obviously, yes.
A 1968 rock and roll, to me, rock and roll as I know rock and roll is Chuck Berry, it's Fats Domino, it's Little Richard. It's this sort of atmospheric sound that we've been trying to get hold of.
So you want that back? You don't want Carl's new stuff, you want the
I think there's room for both, actually. I think that rock and roll won't come back in such a big way if it's just the old great singers like Presley singing rock and roll again. It'll have to have some English counterpart, and I think it'll have to have some groups. As Carl says, we'll have to have a 68 rock and roll, but there'll have to be some 57 rock and roll with it. Otherwise it won't be rock and roll.
You agree?
Probably a mixture of both, wouldn't it?
I think that all the leather gear is definitely going to come back, you know, and all
sure, yeah.
the rings and all this. But I think that the techniques have advanced, you see, in 10 years, and that it's got to be more updated.
So new music, but old props?
Basically, yeah.
Yes. How about these clothes, Memphis? Do you wear them all the time, all this, the sort of the finery, the studs and the black leather?
I don't wear studs, but some friends of mine, yes, they wear this wherever they go.
In the streets and everywhere?
They wear it in the streets, but why should they?
Yeah, right, look at that, it's incredible, look. Sorry to point at you, but that one there, that is...
The
geezer with the hat, that's incredible, isn't it?